Now, our last question. So we talked a little bit about managing the franchisees and maintaining that brand consistency. But how do we help our franchisees be successful? Really, obviously, as Trevor and others have mentioned, we want any franchisees to be successful. But as a franchisor, how can we support them? And I think I'll come back to Trevor first, and then maybe Tim can add a few points.
So it's quite simple. In our similar to what Tu is saying, in our franchise agreements, we already have things like the training plan, which is actually 1 month in Bangkok and then another 2 to 3 weeks overseas. And then we send out through our monthly newsletter. We have cooking videos that go out to teach new recipes or new cooking techniques that we like, and that's done on a monthly basis. So we're constantly making material. We're also in like a process of trying to digitize everything, primarily because I saw last year when I opened an outlet in Vietnam, we handed a bunch of kids some paper and they looked at us like we were kind of funny. Like, why is the training not online or why is it not digital? So we're spending a huge amount of time now trying to really digitize our business and looking at programs and things like behavioral change, to where we could train in smaller chunks as opposed to in the past. Primarily, we've been focused on training from that 1 month intensive course. It's a deep dive into our cuisines and things, to now where we can step by step it over time and do it where it's long term. Obviously, training in the beginning is easy, but always those people don't always stay around. So we're really focused on having now a system that is we call it like a maintenance system, to continually training, because the more you're training, the better your franchisees are going to be. And I think also franchisees, especially after what we've seen after COVID, is franchisees tend to drop the ball too. They can't remember everything. They're in operations every single day, and when you're from a franchisor perspective, you're a bit on the outside, so you can look at things with a different perspective and a little bit of a different clarity because you're not stuck in that situation day to day. But for me, the key is training, training, communication. Keep consistently. We do things already similar to, as Ms. Tu had mentioned, about the monthly report. So all franchisees have to send a monthly report to us, to really tell us where their operations are, some of the problems they had, what the successes they had. So we like to share their successes in the monthly newsletter. So it creates this good sense of community as well.
Great. Thanks, Trevor. Tim, anything to add?
Yeah, thanks, Robert and Trevor. Yeah, that was really interesting. And I think to add to that, from a location intelligence perspective, I'd say that the most important thing that you can do as a franchisor to help your franchisee be successful is prepare a market plan. And that really is about how many stores can be built in a market, and then where should those stores be located? Because you've got to remember that as you select a franchisee for your system, you tend to be selecting somebody with great operational expertise and great experience, but it's very unlikely that that particular person or that group have great experience in location expansion. And so often these franchisees are guessing where to locate these new stores, which can be really to the detriment of the franchise system that you're developing. The second point I'd make here is that make sure as you've built that market plan also that you provide your franchisees with access to location feasibility tools so that they can carefully assess those locations they might be considering, or alternately, as a franchisor, take responsibility for that. But somebody needs to be responsible for that location feasibility analysis. If it is as a franchisor that you're reviewing those opportunities that franchisees are suggesting, you must be prepared to say no. So you must be looking at those locations. You must be preparing some feasibility assessments of the quality of those locations, and you must be prepared to say no, because there is nothing more detrimental to a franchise system than having underperforming franchisees because they will suck the life out of the franchise system. And so being prepared to say no is just so important for a growing franchise system. And this for me is very much a case of you be prepared to invest $1 to save $100. The cost of establishing a market plan, the cost of establishing and building in some location feasibility tools in a business is very small compared to the cost of getting some of this wrong. And so it is, invest $1, save 100, and then your system can grow successfully with relatively low risk.
Thanks, Tim. And that's very important. And a lot of times we don't think about that, but the cost of any outlet, whether we're talking restaurants, whether we're talking retail, whether we're talking education, doesn't really matter. It's astronomical, and failure is not something that's good for either the franchisee or the franchisor. So anything we can do to increase our chances of success, is very important. So that's our 6 questions for today, and it really concludes our topics. On behalf of everyone who attended, I want to thank our panel, via Franchise Consulting and GapMaps, Exquisine Global, and Tilleke and Gibbins for all of the informative information. If anyone who attended would like to discuss with any of our panel one-on-one about any of via franchise international brands looking to expand in your area, or helping your company or brand to become a franchise, if you're interested in Thai food, Trevor will be happy to help you. If you need some intelligence for locations for your own company, or for a new plan to expand to a new territory, of course, Tim and GapMaps are ready. And for Asia-wide legal advice, can't get better than Miss Tu and her team at Tilleke and Gibbins. So we're going to share a screen at the end of this webinar with our contact information. Please reach out to us at via Franchise Consulting, and we'll be glad to point you in the right direction. So thanks, Sean, Trevor, Tim, and Tu, for the information today. And really, that concludes our webinar. So thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful day.